what is the real meaning of the adjective bold? According to the internet, it means courageous, confident, and fearless, ready to take risks. This entire definition suits all the projects you are seeing right now like a glove. They were all made by the same builder. Some will say, these projects are radical. Others will use the adjective extravagant. And these may all be correct. But when it comes to the project presented today, bold is undoubtedly the most appropriate term. Welcome to RacerTV. As you were expecting, this is indeed a very bold project. And even if it's not quite your style, you have to recognize that it is one of those worth seeing. And I can assure you that there is a huge amount of work behind this build. Not to mention its complexity. I suspect that many of you have already identified the author of the project, especially because he has a very unique style, which sets him apart from most. This is the latest work from Lucas Layum and the crew of Lucky Custom, located in Argentina. He called this project Maverick. You probably already see where this is going. Yes, the very famous character from Top Gun, interpreted by Tom Cruise. And if the project's inspiration began with a bold character, it's no wonder that this approach is equally bold. But to what extent this bold factor goes? Well, we just need to see this transition. As you see, the project began with a 1979 Honda CB750. And if you ask what's left of this bike in the final version of the project, I will have to say, not much. In fact, it seems that, from the initial motorcycle, only the engine was used. This means that even the entire frame structure was built from scratch. You can see this clearly, comparing it to this other project. The big question is, why did Lucas choose to build this new frame? And here is the answer. This is how the Honda was before the build. And yes, this may hurt some sensibilities. But on the other hand, thanks to the condition of this bike, Lucas gained total freedom in the project. As you can see on this section, Lucas not only had to make this entire structure to handle the central shock absorber, but he also had to ensure that the frame would handle the torsion of the mono arm. The entire front and rear suspensions, the mono swing arm, brakes, and wheels came from a Ducati 848. And while I was working on this transition, I was very surprised. If you look carefully, you will notice that the wheelbase, the rake angle, and several points of the frame structure are practically identical. It is hard to tell how identical they are, due to the different camera lens distortion. But I think we can say with some certainty that they are very close. This could mean that Lucas tried to build a new frame, so that the bike would handle similar to this Ducati. The Honda's weight distribution is obviously different. But considering that the engine is in a lower position, I bet it handles like a dream. Before you ask about this extraordinary and very believable special effect, I can only say, I had to do it. If YouTube's rules demand all motorcyclists wear safety gear, I can only agree with them. Therefore, I made sure this happened on this sequence. So, Here is a pertinent question. In what concerns to the aesthetics, if this project was inspired by the latest Top Gun movie, then where is the connection? Well, most of the times, this can be a subjective interpretation. And to make things even harder, aircrafts and motorcycles have nothing in common. But personally, I see the connection in several details, such as these. I don't know if I should call them blades or wings, but I see some similarities with the Top Gun logo. Interestingly, these can also be found on some aircraft wings. They are known as vortex generators, and they look very nice on this project. Not too big, and not too discreet. Just a nice detail to enhance some aeronautical influence. Another very interesting accessory is this one. Not only does it provide some personality to the front section, but it is also an excellent solution for filling this space between the headlight and the top triple tree. And at the same time, it makes a very good connection with the fuel tank. I wondered why Lucas thought to create these arcs. It was only later that this image came to my mind. The iconic air intake from an F-16. Lucas also included some other cool features from the aeronautical theme. For some, this may even seem a bit over the top. But personally, I think it is still a cool touch. The general proportions are very characteristic of this builder, with a very small tail. On this case, the rounded fuel tank, which came from this motorcycle, sits very good with all the rest. The custom-made exhaust system was also a very clever decision. Notice how these tubes make the bike appear closer to the ground, with a very beautiful exhaust outlet, again, reminiscent of the air intake of an F-16. But the most interesting is here. If it wasn't for this box, this area would look too empty, with the monoarm misaligned with the base of the motorcycle. Overall, I think Lucas did a really very impressive work. Basically, this engine will only continue to exist because of his skills to build a new frame structure. Otherwise, I believe this bike would end up on a scrap yard. Fortunately, Lucas saved this CB750 engine and gave it a new life, accompanied by a very stylish CafeRacer suit. Thank you for watching Racer TV. And as always, I hope to see you on the next video. But until then, I wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.